The wind had been sharp all morning, the kind that cuts through even the warmest coats. Olivia Hart, the youngest tech company CEO in her city, stepped out of her car, her mind packed with meetings, deadlines, and problems that needed fixing yesterday. She had stopped at the small roadside café only to grab a quick coffee before driving to her next appointment. But as she adjusted her scarf and headed toward the entrance, she felt a tiny tug at her sleeve. She turned, and there stood a little girl, no more than 5 years old, with messy brown curls, tear-streaked cheeks, and trembling hands. Her pink jacket was too thin for the cold, and her boots were dusted with dirt. The girl looked up at Olivia with wide, frightened eyes and whispered, voice cracking, "Ma'am, I can't find my daddy." For a moment, the busy world inside Olivia's head stopped. The child's panic, so raw and desperate, pierced straight through the noise of her daily life. Everything, the meetings, the emails, the stress, fell away in an instant as she knelt down in front of the child. Before the child could say another word, she suddenly turned and took off running straight toward the tree line behind the cafe. And Olivia, still holding her untouched coffee, sprinted after her. Before we continue, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. It helps our channel, Kindness Tales, reach more people with stories that remind us how powerful compassion can be. Now, let's get back to the story. Olivia wasn't a runner. She barely made time for morning stretches. But something about the little girl's voice had cut straight into her chest, and adrenaline carried her forward. The cold air burned her lungs as she followed the girl down a narrow dirt path leading into the woods. Branches snapped under their feet, and the smell of pine grew stronger. "Sweetheart," Olivia called, breathless. "Wait, it's okay. I'm here to help." The girl didn't slow down. She disappeared behind a curve in the trail, forcing Olivia to push herself harder. When she finally caught up, she found the girl standing at the base of a steep slope, staring into a thick patch of trees. She was sobbing now, her little shoulders shaking. Olivia approached gently, crouching beside her. Hey, she whispered. "You're safe. Tell me what happened." "My daddy, he went to look for our dog." "Bailey," the girl hiccuped. "I told him I was tired, so I stayed in the car, but then the car got really quiet, and I got scared, and I went to look for him, and now I don't know where he is." Olivia felt her throat tighten. "Okay," she said softly. "What's your name?" "Amy." "Hi, Amy. I'm Olivia, and I promise we're going to find your daddy." Amy wiped her face with her sleeve. "You won't leave me?" "Never," Olivia said with a firm kindness she didn't even know she had. The woods were cold, darker than she expected, and eerily quiet. Olivia took Amy's small, freezing hand in her own and scanned the area. She pulled out her phone, no signal. Of course. She swallowed hard. She was alone with a terrified child in the middle of the woods with no reception, no backup, and no clue where the father could be. But she pushed away her fear. Amy needed calm, not panic. "Which direction did your daddy go?" Olivia asked. Amy pointed to a narrow break between the trees. They walked carefully, Olivia keeping her arm around the girl. The deeper they went, the more Olivia realized how easy it would be for someone to get lost out here. Fallen branches hid the ground in uneven layers, and the slope grew steeper with every step. After a few minutes of walking, they heard something, the faint, distant barking of a dog. Amy gasped. "Bailey! That's Bailey!" Hope lit her little face, and Olivia felt adrenaline surge again. They followed the sound until they reached another slope. At the bottom, tangled in a mess of branches and thick brush, lay a man clutching his leg in pain. A small brown dog barked anxiously beside him. Amy let out a cry. "Daddy!" The man looked up, wincing. "Amy! Oh, thank God!" Olivia carried Amy down the slope slowly, making sure neither of them slipped. When they got close, the man gave a weak smile, though his face was pale. "I'm so sorry," he murmured. "I took a bad fall trying to get the dog. I couldn't move. I tried calling out, but I guess no one heard." Amy threw her arms around him, crying into his jacket. Olivia knelt beside him. "Your leg looks bad," she said gently. "But you're awake. You're talking, and that's good. Let's get help." But her phone still showed no service. The man nodded weakly. "There's a ranger station somewhere past the cafe, but it's a good distance." "I'll go," Olivia said without hesitation. "I'll run until I get a signal." But before she could stand, the man grabbed her arm, his voice trembling. "Thank you for helping my daughter. Thank you for not ignoring her." Olivia's heart swelled, not with pride, but with something humbler, warmer. "I could just walk away," she replied softly. She ran harder than she ever had in her life. Branches scraped her arms. The cold stung her cheeks and her legs burned, but she kept pushing until her phone finally lit up with a signal. She dialed 911 with shaking fingers, breath coming in sharp bursts. Within 20 minutes, rangers and paramedics arrived. Olivia led them back through the woods. guiding them carefully down the slope. They lifted Amy's father onto a stretcher and carefully carried him back to the trail. Amy held Olivia's hand the entire time. When everyone was safely back near the cafe, the paramedics prepared to load the man into the ambulance. Amy hesitated, looking back at Olivia with wide, grateful eyes. "You're coming too, right?" she asked softly. Olivia knelt down again, brushing a leaf from the girl's hair. "You're safe now, sweetheart. Your daddy needs you. But listen, I'm not going far. He'll be right behind you." Amy reached forward and hugged her tightly, surprising Olivia with the strength of her embrace. "Thank you for finding us," she whispered. As the ambulance doors closed, Olivia stood in the cold, watching the vehicle pull away, her heart heavier and yet lighter all at once. She returned to her car, hands still trembling, partly from adrenaline, partly from emotion. She sat for a moment, letting everything sink in. Her whole life she had run from one obligation to another. Meetings, deadlines, goals, success. And yet none of it, not even the biggest achievement of her career, made her feel the way hoping that little girl did. Everything in her felt different, refreshed, human, alive. Later that afternoon, after she finally made it home, she looked at her reflection in the hallway mirror. Her hair was messy, her coat was dirty, and her elbows were scraped from the branches. But her eyes looked softer, warmer. As she hung her coat, her phone buzzed a message from an unknown number. It was a picture of Amy holding Bailey, both smiling wide. Under it, the message read, "Thank you, Olivia. You saved us." Mark and Amy. Olivia felt tears prick her eyes. She typed back, "I'm glad you're safe. Take care of each other." And then, almost without thinking, she added, "If you ever need anything, I'm here." That evening, Olivia made a promise to herself. No matter how busy her days became, she would never let the world harden her. She would stay open, present, kind. Sometimes she realized kindness wasn't just about grand gestures. Sometimes it was simply about stopping, kneeling, listening, and choosing to care. You never knew whose life it might change, including your own. In a world that often feels rushed and disconnected, kindness is a bridge, one that reminds us we're all human, all vulnerable, and all capable of helping someone find their way. May this story inspire you to slow down, look around, and be the reason someone feels less alone today.